Good afternoon, all participants. Good afternoon, Mr. Pratik Khurana. Welcome you to NIT Rourkela virtual platform of this short-term course on futuristic wireless technologies and IoT, 5G and beyond. Let me introduce you today's guest speaker, Mr. Pratik Khurana. Mr. Pratik Khurana is Senior Application Engineer at Keysight Technologies. He has 13 years of experience in RF industry. He has been associated with Keysight Technologies for more than 8 years, supporting for various Keysight pathway design tools on applications such as MMIC, RFIC, chip level design, RF circuit level design, and system level design to aerospace, defense, and wireless customers. Mr. Khurana has previously worked as Senior RF Design Engineer at Embedded Wireless Labs, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where he was working on RF front-end design for medical wireless devices. Prior to that, he has worked at ISRO Ahmedabad, wherein he was working on RF power amplifier design. So, dear participants, it will be a very fruitful session today as you see the demonstration and listen to Mr. Pratik Khurana about the 5G system simulation using System View's 5G library. System View is the customized software designed by Keysight Technologies. So we are very much fortunate here. Mr. Pratik Khurana is there to demonstrate the 5G system simulation using System View. So I welcome Mr. Khurana to this virtual platform and hope his demonstration of 5G system simulation will be very much beneficial for all participants. Thank you, Mr. Khurana. I hand over to you now to start your demonstrative class. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for such a great introduction. Thank you for inviting us to this great platform. I hope all the participants, those who have joined in, can learn something out of it. And I hope everyone is doing safe during this time. And these sessions actually keep on motivating us to work with all these prestigious, institutes to work in this 5G and all the upcoming technologies. So as Madam suggested, today's talk is more or less on 5G level system, and I will be presenting this paper. I have what I'll be doing is most of the times I don't want to work too much on the slides, so I do have slides which are like around 52 slides, but I would not like to share all the 52 slides. I will share it with ma'am so that if you want, you can have a look at it in detail. But most of the times I would like to show you what all things are happening in the software, how we can do things in the software, because in the demonstration you kind of correlate it much easier and much better. So I do have slides to explain each and every aspect of it. If you want to go back and do a reference to these slides, so I will share it with ma'am, and ma'am can share it with everyone, those who are participating in this session. So let's start with a quick presentation. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. Ma'am, if you can let me know if my screen is visible. Or anyone can.
Yes. Perfect. Please carry on.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining in. As has already introduced me. My name is Pratik Kurana. I work as a senior application engineer for Keysight Technologies. Previously, when I joined Keysight 8 years back, it was known as Agilent Technologies, correct? So you might have heard about HP, Agilent, and Keysight. We all kind of the same. So a lot of Agilent or Keysight instruments, signal generators, network analyzers, signal analyzers, oscilloscope, or multimeters in your lab. We do have another segment of, or you can say another division, which works with different simulation softwares. And I belong to that particular division. We call it as Pathwave Design Simulation Division. And this system view actually is one of the softwares which is being used for system level simulation. So before I go ahead with this software, I would like to highlight one thing. This software is not only just you can be used for 5G application, but it can be used for various other, radar, EW, or let's say SATCOM or GNSS or digital broadcasting or LTE, LTE Advanced, WiMAX. So it can be used for various kind of system level simulation. I will be showing you a little bit about all those things because it caters a lot of different things. But our main focus will be today uh, 5G NR, system level design and simulation. So going forward, this is the quick agenda. So I have, let's say, I spent a couple of minutes to, to give you a quick introduction because I think some of you might already know about system view or might have seen it or might have heard me in some other presentation. So I'll just give you a quick introduction of System View, those who are new to System View, and then I will directly get into phase array implementation because that's one of the hot topics which are been happening in 5G application, not only just 5G application but in radar as well. So we'll talk about phase array implementation and different kind of geometries, different kind of architectures, multi-user MIMO because it's going to use phase array implementation as multi-user MIMO. So we're going to talk about a lot of those things with respect to phase array, and then we'll get into 5G NR library. So as I mentioned in my, in the starting itself, we cater a lot of different things. We cater a lot of radar, SATCOM, and different applications. So each of these applications have their own library. And so our today's main focus will be 5G NR library, which is within the system view. So we will talk about what exactly is there in this 5G NR library, what all models we have in this 5G NR library. So you can see typically in this bullet points that we support all the physical layer models. So all the physical channels and modulation, multiplexing and channel coding models. A lot of different channel models are there. So as per the 3GPP 38.211.212.1901, we support all these models. So we'll just go and give a quick glance of what we have. But let's say anyone wants to go in detail and wants to use the software, please feel free to write in to us. I will share my mail ID in the chat box, and you can drop in a mail if you have any queries or you want to get some more information in detail on any of these things what we have discussed today or something else you want to discuss as well. So let's start with a small introduction. What exactly is system view? So, as probably you can understand by this particular block diagram, any particular system, when we start, whether it is a wireless system or a SATCOM or a radar, the basic building block diagrams almost remain same. So we have a digital data on the left-hand side, and then from the transmitter end, and then it goes down to a lot of, various subsystem blocks. It might be your baseband altogether, your RF front end, and your channel models. And similarly, on your receiver side, you have your RF and so on and so forth. It comes down to digital data. So system view is one actually single is an environment wherein you can design the complete physical layer for your system, which include all these all these block diagrams or all these blocks. So you can design, you can start with the digital data and end with the digital data. You can design your own baseband, you can design your own RF front end, you can have your own channel models, you can bring your antenna models. So how we support different aspects of these designs. So how we support baseband, how we support RF, we're going to discuss more in detail in the consecutive slides, that how we support all these different models. So basically, just to give you an overview, we have it's a single environment wherein you can design the complete system, and that's one of the best part of it, that you can do a cross-domain simulation, correct? Because sometimes what happens is when you're trying to do your own baseband level design, or most of the things what I've seen is in the R&D, in the most of the research organizations and a lot of private organizations, those who are working in this particular field of 5G or any other wireless system, what I've seen is most of the times you will see there is a team working on baseband, and there's a team working on RF front end, and there's another team working on antennas. But when they want to interact with each other, when they want to bring in all their models all together and do a complete system level scenario, there is nothing. You cannot do much about it, because they have their own specialized tools to work on different aspects of it. So what we can do, let's see how we can do our baseband design in system view, and how we support different softwares as well. So we just not only just use, as I mentioned, not only just we can design the baseband using system view 5G library, but also we can integrate different softwares within system view to so that you can actually mimic your IPs within system view. So we'll talk about all those things going forward. We'll also talk about how RF front end can be designed, and how you can bring in different softwares for the RF front end to integrate along with that. For the antennas as well, as we go further ahead in the transmitter or in the receiver, and how this is not an EM tool which will allow you to do antenna design. So just wanted to be clear in the starting itself, we have tools to cater all those things, but this is the tool. If I have designed my antenna in an electromagnetic tool, how can I integrate it in a particular system, so that I can understand that what is the behavior of the antenna along with the complete system level in the system level simulation. So you can do different, all these kind of integrations and do a complete system level simulation, and it is a single platform which allows you to do that. So that's one of the very strong points or stronghold of what we do. We integrate baseband, RF, antennas, channel all together and do a complete system level simulation to understand how your system is performing. So there are different multiple aspects of how your system is performing, correct? You will try to understand what is the throughput, what is the BER, what is the EVM, all those things. So we're going to see how we can do all those system level simulations when we integrate different aspects of the system. Going forward, let's understand what system view is and what all different libraries it has. So you have system view core in between. So I like to just kind of explain it how system view works. So you have system view core in between, and then okay, let me switch on my pointer. If okay, let me make it as full screen and switch on my pointer. Okay, so we have system view core, and then we have different libraries in system view. You can choose what kind of library you want to work on. So let's say if I want to work on 5G or any other wireless standards, you can see over here we have different libraries for that. If you want to work on wireless LAN, we have different libraries for that. If you are working on any kind of, you are working along with some aerospace and defense research institute or DRDOs, you want to work on radar, or you're working with SATCOM applications. So we do have libraries to support that, support those applications as well. So depending upon what you're trying to do, you can actually integrate that as well. Now coming to the basic kind of algorithms, how you want to implement the basic algorithms like FFT, digital filtering, correct? All those bit generations, a lot of different aspects of baseband. So we do have our own baseband library, which we call it as algorithm design library as well. So this is also a baseband library, which I was talking about, IP reference libraries. These are also baseband libraries. Along with that, we have a basic, general purpose, you can say general purpose baseband library, which, caters all the basic blocks like FFT or digital filtering and all those things. So you can integrate that as well. And then you can also integrate. So not you can integrate. Actually, the MATLAB is already integrated inside System View. So let me just give you a quick kind of a view what System View looks like. So if you see it over here, this is the system view. I hope everyone is able to see the software. I will switch on the chat window in case, if you guys have any queries on the chat. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to see the system view window, the software on the main screen. So you can see over here, this is the schematic over here on the middle, and then you have these different libraries on the right hand side. So you can see we have algorithm design library, we have uh, uh, let me go up a little bit. This is the 5G advanced library, which you're going to discuss in much more detail further ahead. And then you have a lot of these radar libraries, RF design libraries. So these are all different libraries wherein you can choose the components and you can bring it into the schematic. The same way, this is the algorithm design library which I was talking about, general purpose baseband libraries. What we have. So let's say you want to bring in any kind of bit sequence. So I can just bring in the bit sequence over here on the schematic, double click over here, define the parameters on the schematic over here. Same way, let's say you want to bring in the filter. So you have a lot of these digital filters working over here. I'm sorry, there is a background noise coming in from someone. If you all can mute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, so I can just bring in, a lot of these digital filters are there, a lot of, AWG noises, FFT functions. So you can bring in the FFT function as well if you want to perform some kind of FFT, define the FFT size, right? And then let's say you want to bring in some impulse response. You can bring the impulse response. So a lot of these, baseband blocks are available within this algorithm design library. So I'm just filtering it out with the name. So, but you can see there are so many baseband blocks which are available in this particular. So in this library, one more thing I just wanted to highlight before we go ahead further ahead in the presentation. When you purchase System View, you actually automatically get MATLAB along with System View. So System View comes along with the MATLAB. Okay, so MATLAB is sitting inside System View. So if I write MATLAB, you can just bring the MATLAB, double click over here and write your script. So let's how you write, your MATLAB code. You can just write it, or if you have already written the MATLAB code, you can just copy paste this You can just copy paste the MATLAB code inside. So this is like kind of you can write the equations over here in the MATLAB. This equations over here on the left hand side. You can see on the workspace tree. This is also we call it as MATLAB. So this is also again MATLAB. So let's say you want to have some kind of FFT function, correct? So all those things are there already in the as as the MATLAB shows. So yeah, so this is exactly like MATLAB. So you can just copy paste your algorithms over here as well, and you can use them as post processing equations, or you can even use them as to feed in the parameters for your block. Correct. So let's say if I have to feed in some parameter over here, sampling rate equal to sample underscore rate. Let's say SR. I have given it as SR over here. SR is not defined over here. So what I'll do is I'll say SR over here, SR. So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, make it as sample underscore rate. Okay, so sample underscore rate is an inbuilt function. So automatically when I go back over here, I'll make it as show the variable. So you can see over here, it is automatically the value has come. This value is coming in from the simulator, and the simulator over here is the data flow simulator. It works on what is the start time, stop time, what is the sampling rate, number of samples you want to process. So it's a typical data flow simulator, and that's how it is getting 1 megahertz is the sampling rate over here. So you can just directly go and integrate your MATLAB. Along with that, we also support a lot of fixed point C++. We also support SGL code generation, C++ code generation. All those things are also available. We also have RF library. So probably you might have seen it when I was, going through these libraries over here. You can see there is the RF design library, and this RF design library has all the models, in the which are required for your RF front end design. So this is the RF library, and here you can also bring in, S parameter files, your nonlinear models, X parameter models, not which are the nonlinear models supported by a lot of device manufacturer, so you can even bring that as well. Apart from that, I'm not sure whether any one of you have heard about ADS. So ADS is one of our flagship products from Keysight. So advanced design system. It is widely used across most of the organizations, whether it is private or government organizations, those who are working in RF domain, to design their RF front end PCB, to design their RFIC, MMICs, high-speed digital board level designs. So even you can integrate the designs within the system view. So let's say you have designed any chip, let's say any power amplifier chip in ADS or in Golden Gate, you have designed your chip which is supposed to work in 5G environment, and you want to understand that how it is going to behave uh, in the 5G environment. So typically what you can do is once your design is ready, you tend to integrate it with the actual complete 5G system, which has been designed in system view. So you can integrate those as well uh, with the ADS integration and the Golden Gate integration as well. Another thing which I would like to highlight is the integration with the instruments. So let's say I have designed some test bench to do a system level simulation. Uh, I can use the same test bench to integrate with the hardware. So let's say if I want to generate a particular 5G signal along with some, let's say, in band blocking or out of band blocking signal, correct? So how will I do it in the lab environment? So I can create a test bench in system view, dump it into a signal generator, and that signal generator will start generating that particular kind of scenario in the lab environment. And the same way, a lot of our analyzers have, analyzers have this recording feature wherein you can record the signal. So let's say once I have generated the signal, I have given it to my duty, I have, you know, uh, passed it on to my analyzer. My analyzer has recorded the signal. I can bring it back into system view for doing the post processing, or even let's say something like BER kind of measurement. So you can do all those kind of BER kind of measurements, BER kind of simulation, as well as in the testing environment you can do the BER kind of testing with the integration of system view and the hardware. So you will require a signal generator and a signal analyzer to perform that as well. So a lot of different things you can do it. We can discuss one by one as you go further ahead. So first we'll go ahead and talk about baseband level design. What are things we do in the baseband level design, and then I'll talk about a little bit of RF level, and then I will get into phased array and 5G. So these are the for the next 1 hour. Hopefully we could finish. There's too many things to cover, and the time is very limited. So probably you might see me skipping some of the slides, but a lot of things are available on the slides. A lot of things are available on YouTube as well, and we are also available. So you can just drop in a mail to us anytime if you have any kind of queries or you want to understand how it has been done in this particular software, or how your problem can be catered in this software. Going to the baseband very quickly. So as I mentioned, we have a baseband library, algorithm design library. Along with that, we also support MATLAB. We also support C++ code generation, and we also support HDL code generation as well. So let me just quickly show you a quick, options over here. So when you go to the workspace, you can see over here there's an option called C++ code generation and HDL code generation over here. So you can open up. Let me open up a quick one. So let me close the workspace, and This is not exactly for 5G scenario, but this is for something else. But I can actually wanted to show you, how it can be done with the. So I did it for EM. Okay. So this is something like, I have done a little bit of on the baseband level. This is not with respect to 5G. This is for some other baseband level design. And you can see over here in the system view, I can actually generate, C++ code models. So this is, if you can see over here, I have used the C++ code generator. And this is C++ code generator, I can create the system view models, or I can create my standalone library. So if I generate a standalone library, I can open it up in the Notepad++, or in the Visual C, C++ 2017, or whichever version you have, and open it up and edit those libraries as well. So you can generate a C++ code. So here, I have done some algorithms for which I have generated the code. So you can even do that. Similar way, going back, as I've already mentioned, you can integrate the MATLAB. So I'm just going to skip it. And if you have any questions, probably in the Q&A sessions, I can answer those questions, or you can just write it down in the chat window. If in case you have any questions, hopefully in the end, I'll answer all the questions in the chat window as well. So you can integrate the MATLAB. You can see MATLAB is already inside system view. You can just copy paste your MATLAB script, and you can use it uh, along with the system. So the whole concept of integration of the MATLAB was, let's say you want to work on a particular coding technique. So let's say you are working on LDPC coding techniques for 5G system, and you want to check that's just coding, whether the code is correct or not. So what you used to do was you end up writing the whole transmitter, the whole receiver, and all the channel models, all the antenna models, everything you want to bring in. So what you can do simply is you can use system view blocks to recreate the complete system, wherein you have transmitter, receiver, antenna models, RF front-end models all together, channel models all together, and then you can integrate your MATLAB code in between, wherever it is working on. So whether it is a coder or an encoder or a decoder, correct, at the transmitter end or at the receiver end, you can just actually uh, bring in because we can actually bring in we can actually integrate these models and make it really quick for you to to run the complete system level simulation. Then already C++ code I have already mentioned. So what happens is when you do some kind of baseband level design in system view using algorithm design library, some of these algorithm design library actually support C++ code generation. And this C++, what you can do is you can actually generate the C++ code, and then you can open it up in open up in C++, and then you can even try to edit them. Or if you already have a C++ code which is already available with you, which you might have already written, you can also bring it inside system view, because system view is basically based on C++. So anything which you might have written in C++, you can just compile it in .dll format and bring it inside system view. Uh, for the SDL code generation, we have a fixed point library. So using the fixed point library, I can generate a HDL code as well. So let me just quickly show it to you. This is called the fixed point library. So let's say I go to the hardware design, I go to the fixed point library. So these are the fixed points. So these are some of the logic, very basic logic algorithms, which you have to integrate and create your own baseband. So if you can see it in the example in the next slide, so this is like an FM modulator, which has been created using these fixed point blocks. So what I think I can do while generating the code, I have these different options while generating the code. The first option is HDL only. So HDL only means it's a neutral HDL. You can open it up in the text file. You can just edit it, keeping the syntax intact, and then use the and then use it use it wherever you are looking out for. Let's say you want to implement it for on an FPGA, then the designer has to work by themselves. If you're working with Xilinx FPGA or Altera FPGA, so we have a direct link with Xilinx FPGA and Altera FPGA, as you can see it over here, Vertex 4567 and 7000. And it will also generate, so what it will do is it will generate a ISC project or a Vivado project, depending upon which Vertex board you are working on, or which Xilinx board you are working on. So let me give you a quick idea of how it does, how it happens. So let's say I go for a filter. Sorry, I typed in the wrong one. So let's say this is a FIR fixed point filter. This filter, let's say I double click over here. I go to the filter design. So you can see how easy it is. So it will open up the filter design for me. I can do a custom or I can do a bandpass filter, raise cosine. And let's say I want sample rate as 1 megahertz and symbol rate as 500 e raised to power 3 kilowatt, half of it, correct? F center is this one, square root is yes, interpolation factor is, let's say 8, and design the filter. Oh, sorry, this one low pass filter. Let me go with low pass because then I don't have to define the frequencies. But if I say the band pass, okay, so let's say 0.35 and then design it. Okay, so this is a low pass filter. Okay, so this is a low pass filter, and this is the coefficients which are generated. You can use these coefficients, or you can just say okay, apply, say okay, and go to the. I'm just defining an input and output port over here, and then I'm defining add another design two, and this is my filter design. This is my filter, and this is filtered, and this is the, let's say, top level design. So I'm going to use this filter as it, with the top level, any system level design. So I'm using this filter within some particular, let's say, top level system level simulation. So now I want to generate an SGL code. So what you can do is you can just add a code generator, SGL code generator over here. And in the SGL code generation, use the model which you want to generate the code for. So this is the subnetwork filter I want to generate the code for. And this is the options what you have seen in the slides. So you can see SDL, Xilinx FPGA. So you have Xilinx Vertex 4567 and Zinc 7000 series. A lot of different boards are there on in this family. You can define the clock reset, IO settings, all those things, and it will generate an ISC project or a Vivado project depending upon which board you're working on. The same thing for Altera as well. For Zinc, for Vertex 7 and 6 board, we also do hardware in loop. So what does it hardware in loop means? This particular design will be implemented on the hardware. It will be kind of solved on the hardware, and the results will be given back to system view. So when it encounters this HIL block, it will actually implement it on the hardware, run the simulations over there, and bring back the results to the system view. So that's a quick introduction on what we do in the baseband level. I know I just went very quickly because we don't have much of the time. I quickly want to get into uh, phased array and 5G application because I want to spend more time over there. So that was a quick introduction on baseband level design. Same way, let's do a quick introduction, 5 to 10 minutes, what we do in the RF level. So in the RF level, as I mentioned, we have a RF library, and here we don't use data flow analysis. Here we use a pure frequency domain simulator, which is called SpectraSys, as you can see it over here. This is the SpectraSys engine, which the full form is spectral propagation root cause analysis. And this particular simulator works on frequency domain, and that's why on the right hand side, if you see the graphs, you will see the spuriouses, the mixing orders, all those things are calculated in the frequency domain. So you can plot the spectrum, and you can actually plot how much order you want to run the simulation for. So you want to run the simulation for third order, fifth order, or seventh order, it will actually plots all the non-linearities in your system. So let's say you're working on some particular RF front-end design, wherein you have an amplifiers, you have mixers all together. So amplifiers and mixers are, are the nonlinear models which will generate not only just the fundamental frequency, it will also generate the harmonics. Similar way, the mixers will not only just generate the fundamental frequencies, it will generate plus and minus frequencies, F1 minus F2, F1 plus F2, and all other different intermodes as well, along with that 2 F1 minus F2 or 2 F1 plus F2, all those different, permutational combinations will be generated along with that. And then how each one of the blocks are behaving, because the whole complete spectrum will be passed on from one block to another block. So it is not just that I'm just passing the central frequency or the mixing. I'm actually passing the complete band of signal, wherein you are trying to do a simulation until, let's say, fifth order. Until fifth order, all the mixing orders, all the harmonics which are generated will be passed on from one block to another block, and we will try to see that how they behave when these kind of nonlinearities come into picture, and which is very important. Again, we do a lot of these budget analysis as well. So in the budget analysis, let's say you want to do in RF front end, what is the cascaded gain, what is the cascaded noise figure, what is the cascade, what is the IIP2, IIP3, all those things, channel power, all those, you want to plot it across the system level. You want to see how the budget analysis is. You can do all these budget analysis as well in system view. So this is one of the very quick examples of how we do it. So let's say in this particular case, I'm not using any model of RF library. I'm using a model from vendor. So this X parameter model. So you have S parameter models, the scattering models, and then you have a new. I think you must have heard about these X parameter models from Keysight. If Keysight have been we have this is one of our patented technologies, which is wherein the non-linearities are captured for your RF front-end non-linear models. So I can bring this X parameter models. I can bring my baseband. So in this case, it is a simple QPSK modulator, but you can have your own 5G baseband, or you can have your own MATLAB code, you can have your own C++ code, or you can have your own HDL code, whichever you're looking at for. Correct? You can actually integrate with the RF front-end chain, which is let's say X parameter model or any other RF design library model, and do a complete system level analysis. So in this case, I'm not sure whether it's able to you, but let me try to enlarge it. So you can see over here, I am actually trying to use a VSA software which will act as a receiver in my case, and this has a capability to demodulate the signal, and I can demodulate the signal I can see the constellation, I can see the spectrum, and then I can see what is the EVM. I'm not sure whether it is visible to you, but on the first line it is written as EVM and all those things. And frequency error, IQ imbalance, or phase imbalance, all those kind of baseband level analysis I can perform in using this library. So next thing, one I would like to highlight is, let's say you have designed RF front end chain using the RF blocks as well as the X parameter blocks. You can actually integrate the complete system. So here is the again a QPSK modulator and a demodulator, but here you can have a transmitter, 5G transmitter, and a 5G receiver. I haven't integrated the RF antenna end, but you can also integrate the antenna models. So we do have support as we go further ahead. You will see we do have support for your antenna, especially for phased array. So for the phased array implementation, we have done lots and lots of enhancements in last 3 years or 4 years to cater, all these phased array kind of applications in 5G standard, or in to support 5G system level simulation. So you can integrate all those things. So let me give you a quick kind of idea how complex you can go. So let's say in this case, I have a QPSK modulator from the blocks within system view, but let's say I have a MATLAB code over here for the transmitter baseband. Similarly, at the receiver baseband, right now they have used a system view blocks. But let's say I have a HDL code which I have already written, or C++ code, so I can integrate that. Let's say for these amplifiers and for antennas, you have an EM simulated results for antenna. I want to bring it into system level. I can do that. If I have designed my RF front end chain in ADS, or let's say if I have designed an amplifier in ADS and IC, I want to bring it into system level, I can do that. So you can integrate whole lot of different things in system view to create a environment, or it can be used as an integration environment to integrate different designs from your different softwares. Let's say MATLAB, C++, ADS. For antenna design, you might be using, I'm not sure, I think most of you might have heard of HFSS, CST, or EM Pro. So EM Pro is one of the softwares which is from Keysight. Similar way, you have HFSS and CST for antenna designing as well. So you can actually integrate all those antenna parameters, antenna models, and do a complete system level simulation in system view. So these are the typical libraries which are supported. So probably you must have seen it in the second slide. But just to give you a quick review, you have a lot of these wireless standards. You have a lot of these defense libraries. You have a lot of broadcasting, digital broadcasting libraries for SATCOM and broadcasting. You have a lot of wireless LAN, WiMAX networking libraries, wireless LAN libraries as well. So these are all different libraries which you can choose. And the best part for the education institutes are, or the research institutes are, you get all the library models. So when you purchase software, you don't have to choose which one, because in one cost you get everything. Okay, so that is the best part. You can work on any of these libraries models. So, but how to use them? How to use them? I have given you a vague idea how to use this library, but how to use them, if I have to give you a quick overview, because we're going to talk about 5G a lot and phased array a lot. But if I have to tell you that how we can use these libraries, so let's say I have let's say I use something like 5G library from this particular libraries. So I can have a transmitter, a receiver block, and I can do a lot of this, system level simulation, standalone system level simulation, wherein I want to check what is the constellation, what is the BER, what is the spectrum. I want to see how the nonlinearities are affecting my baseband signal, how the nonlinearities are affecting, RF nonlinearities are affecting my BER, or how the antennas are affecting my BER because the beam is looking in some other direction. So how it is going to behave like that. I want to do a lot of ACPR, adjacent channel power, those kind of measurements. I can do those kind of things in using that. Apart from that, let's say you want to integrate your own IP. So as I have mentioned, with the source model, let's say you have your own encoding scheme or your own baseband block you want to integrate. You can just integrate with our transmitters your own baseband blocks written in C++, MATLAB, or HDL, and give it to our receiver blocks. Or you want to have your own MATLAB code for the receiver, you can even use that as well, and do all the EVM, BER, those kind of first what we have done it at the first level. All these kind of testing or all these kind of simulations you can perform with the integration of different algorithms written in different IPs. Then let's say you want to bring in your RF front end, correct? So you use our transmitters, receivers. Let's say you are an RF designer, so you have done any kind of ADS RF front end design, because a lot of times nowadays people are working on linearization of amplifiers, correct? And then when you use the linearization of amplifiers, a lot of these DPD, all those things will come into picture. So how can I see the results? How can I do those kind of integrations which I have used it in ADS? You can actually integrate with system view, design your ADS front end design, and give it to my receiver and understand that how it is going to behave in a complete system level scenario. Same way, I can create some kind of a signal, a complex signal from the source. I can have my own baseband written, my RF front end integrated, and then I can actually use it along with the test instrument. So as I was mentioning it in the second slide, you can actually integrate with the signal generator, generate a signal, give it to your duty, take it to the analyzer. From the analyzer, record the signal and bring it back into system view and do those PER, EVM, those kind of analysis as well. So one of the test benches, probably you can see it over here. This is not for 5G. This is for, I think, for some SATCOM application. So this is the transmitter, this is the receiver, and I'm actually trying to integrate the whole lot of, I'm integrating my RF front end, I'm up converting it. I want to integrate the noise. I want to bring in the RF front end model and do the VER kind of simulation. The same test bench. So this is the RF front end, correct? This is the RF front end which I have designed using the RF library. The same test bench, I can use it for testing also. So the same test bench which I did it for simulation, I'm using it for testing. So I can just dump the signal. So this is the IQ generator from Keysight. So I dump the IQ, generate the IQ, give it to my RF front end duty, which might be baseband plus RF, from RF to baseband. So you have a duty which is converting baseband IQ to RF, and then from RF to baseband IQ, some kind of transmitter and receiver, transceiver, and then read those IQ samples back inside analyzer, pass it to the system view, and give it to my receiver and do the VER kind of analysis again back to my. So this kind of solution can not only just give you a quick reference for simulation, but also for testing purpose as well. So I think I've almost spent 45 minutes on a very detailed introduction on what we have, and another 45 minutes I will talk about what is phased array and what is 5G in system view. So before I further go ahead, I just wanted to understand, do we have any questions? If you want me to answer, I'll stop for 1 or 2 minutes over here. And do we have any questions? You can write it in the chat window. I'll try to answer as any, and if you have any queries, I'll just wait for 1 minute and see if you have any questions, or then I'll go further ahead. So any questions, anyone? I don't see any questions in the chat window. I don't see anyone has raised their hands.
Hello, Pratik.
Yes.
See, I want to understand instead of RF, this is good, very good. But can I do an end-to-end simulation in this similarly? Is it possible end-to-end when I mean from RF to 5G core to the other side, cloud side? Is it possible in similar manner?
Cloud side in the sense you, so this is the physical layer design. So you're trying going
Do you have something
on the protocol layer, and the higher layers as well?
Or will you be explaining on that line also now?
No, we don't have a solution on that actually. On the higher layers, you just do the physical layer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, are there any resources you recommend to learn more about 5G design using system view? We do have huge amount of examples inside system view. I think has asked this question. In case you have any specific query, you can just write it down. So I'm just going to type in my email address in the chat window. Feel free to drop in a mail so that we can discuss in more detail on your queries as well. Okay. Another one was I have an EVM using system view 2018 version. I'm getting a negative value. Madhusudan. Madhusudan, I need to look at the example. If you can share with me, so I've shared my mail address. Can you just drop in a mail along with your workspace and along with your project, which is what I mean, and I can have a look at it. Okay, so this one, another one. Can you integrate USRP? I don't think so. I don't think so. I have tried it out. I have tried it out before, but there is a lot of manual work. That is USRP is from which company? Am I correct? Am I correct? Tarun? Yeah, and I know. So yes, you can do that. You can do that because I think USRP you can integrate with the MATLAB, correct? So the same MATLAB engine can equations can be used with system view as well. I had tried doing it, but I didn't have time to because I don't have the hardware. I didn't get much time to play around with it, but I think that is possible if I remember it. And it works. You can there are standard equations in the MATLAB to control that, and then same equations can be used to integrate with the MATLAB inside system view. Okay, perfect. Let's start with the next part, the phased array part. I hope that is the next one. Yes. So let's say next 20 minutes. I'll try to keep it short in the phase array, and then another 20 minutes. I'll try to finish the 5G as well. Okay. So when we come down to phase array, so this is one of the very important aspects in the 5G system, which everyone is talking about, right? Because everyone is talking about the beamforming algorithms, the beamforming technology, whether it should be an RF beamforming or a digital beamforming or a hybrid beamforming. And the whole concept of phase, I will try to understand that what is the whole concept of this phase array, and what are the different architectures which are being considered, and what are the key factors which we intend to forget, which we don't actually we most of the times we forget them, that those things can create an issue, but how we can integrate all those factors into how we can bring all those factors into consideration when we're doing our phased array front end design for any of the systems, whether it is 5G or radar. We'll talk about that in this particular system, in this particular section. So what is why we use phased array, correct? To steer the beam. I think everyone knows it, and everyone knows what I'm talking about on this slide. So how you steer the beam? By changing the input phase of the signal going into your antenna elements. So how you change the phase? There are two different types. There are two different ways. Either you add a delay line to change the phase, to change the phase of the input signal to the antennas, or you add the phase shifters to change the phase. But there is a drawback in each one of them. So if I talk about delay lines, they are too messy, correct? If you want to start adding the delay lines, you will have a huge amount of cables which you want to work around, and huge amount of switches you want to work around. So that is again it becomes whole lot of complex. But let's say you want to add on phase shifters. That is easy nowadays. You have a lot of these digital phase shifters which works perfectly fine. But the only problem is those are band limited. And as we go further ahead in 5G application, FR2 and all those things, they have huge wide bandwidth, correct? So you might have seen FR2 caters up to 400 megahertz bandwidth. So let's say you end up kind of using a phase shifter which is having a 400 megahertz bandwidth, but I'm pretty sure that they are not going to behave same in each and every frequency band within the 400 megahertz bandwidth. So you need to be very careful that what kind of phase they are going to extract, or what kind of phase shift they are going to create at one frequency band. Because at 400 megahertz bandwidth, let's say my phase shift was supposed to be 20 degrees, but I'm sure it will not generate 20 degrees across the band. It will generate 20, 21, 22, 23. As we go across the band, it will change the phase. So you need to calibrate the whole system, and we need to understand that how it is going to affect the beams. Because if I change if my phase varies, my beam is going to vary, because everything is related to the phase. So how are we going to do those kind of things? How are we going to analyze those kind of things? We're going to see in this particular section. Another thing we're going to see is what are the different geometries, because those are one of the very important things. I know, when you start with any kind of phase array implementation, I think first one of the most important aspects will come into your mind is for this particular system. Let's say for the base station, what kind of panel I should use. Shall I use a rectangular panel? Shall I use a hexagonal panel? Shall I use a circular panel, or shall I use a three-dimensional panel, something like this, which covers more kind of beam area? And then next aspect of it will cover is that what kind of system I'm looking out for, whether I'm looking out for sub-array or shared array. Because now the panels are so big and you have to cater multiple beams for multi-user MIMO, you have to use something like sub-array or shared array to create multiple beams out of one single panel. So how we can cater those kind of aspects in 5G. So we're going to talk about that as well. I'm going to show you a lot of demos. In system view, again, you want to understand, not in system view, in phase array, you want to understand what are the far field patterns, how my nulls, how my main lobes, how my nulls are intact, what are my side lobes, what is the beam width, all those things. So you can plot all these kind of far field patterns and everything within system view. So just wanted to highlight, as I meant in the starting also, this is not an electromagnetic tool. This is a mathematical tool which is actually doing the calculations beforehand before you go into the electromagnetic simulation. So it will give you an idea that, okay, if I use this kind of antennas, this kind of antenna elements, what kind of antenna parameters I'm going to get. But then once your antenna is ready, you can bring it back inside and replace your mathematical assumptions with the actual antenna. Okay, so it works both ways. In the starting, to give you an idea how the system is going to behave, and once your antenna is ready, in the EM simulation tool, you bring it back into system view. So let's just to give you a quick idea how we do it. Let me open up a new workspace. Let me close this one. So I'm going to open up a new workspace. I'll go to the example folder so that now you can also open it up when you are working, when you are using system view. So you can see this beam pattern over here. This is an example. So I'll just open up a very basic one. This is a digital one. So let me close this one. So here we have these models. These are the inbuilt models from the library. So this model is calculating the beam weights, and these weights are actually be given by the input theta and phi, and then it calculates the weight. This weights actually generates the magnitude and the phase, but it also calculates. It also gives out x plus jy, the complex data, which is the magnitude and phase. So once it gives out complex data, I can use it to my beam pattern model, and this beam pattern model actually can. So here I'm defining what kind of antenna configuration I'm using it. So you can see it over here. I can have a custom uniform linear array, rectangular, circular, hexagonal, or three-dimensional. All those things I can define it over here. Then what is the number of elements I have? I can define it over here. What is the distance between the elements? I can define. Then the beam configuration I'm looking out for, shade array or overlap of array, non-overlap of sub-arrays, those kind of things. Any kind of windowing functions I want to run, I can do that. So here I'm just defining what kind of configuration it is. So that's why it will calculate the weights according to that particular element configuration. And once the weights are calculated, I can give it to my beam pattern. It is almost like giving it to my antenna models. And this again over here, I will define what is the array. So I have a rectangular array, number of elements, element pattern. So right now the element pattern is isotropic, but here you can actually use pattern file, and you can see it over here, EM Pro, HFSS, CST. You can import those element pattern files as well. So as I was mentioning, you can actually do it in the starting to understand how it is going to behave. But once your antennas are ready, you can also import those antenna elements as well. So let me just run the simulation quickly. And you can see it over here on the screen. It plots you the 3D. Automatically, it will plots you with the 3D, far field pattern and the Cartesian coordinates of all how the elements are placed. This is because I'm using this inbuilt models which are there in system view to do the 3D plotting, dynamic plotting capability, and these are all dynamic plotting capabilities. So what I mean by dynamic plotting capability is, let's say this is the theta 00, correct? So if I use very quickly, if the time permits, let me see. Let's say this is the slider. This slider, I'll make it as horizontal. Theta 00, this one. This is the variable I want to choose. 0 to 180. Number of clicks. Okay. So right now it is 00. This particular theta value. So let me bring it over here. Let me see. Okay. Let me run the simulation again. And you can see this is the graph, 3D graphs. I'm trying to. Okay. So now what I will do is I will close this one because I don't want this. I want you to focus on this one. So these are all dynamic ones. So let me change this values over here. So if I change it over here on the run, you can see the beams are changing. You can see it on the 3D on the right hand side. The beams are changing. So you can actually change the theta values and see how the beams are performing. So these are all dynamic plots over here, and you can see it dynamically how these beams are behaving. So you have a lot of these examples which are talking about rectangular array. A lot of these shared arrays also available. Sub arrays are also available. So if I talk about shared arrays and run the simulation, this is a shared array example. So here I'm actually creating two beams. So one is at 30 and 60, another one is at 0 and 180, and these are sharing these particular 8 cross 8 elements. And then I'm plotting the 3D plots. So let me run the simulation, and you can see over here there are two different peaks. So one is at 184 and 57, which is almost equivalent to that. And let me use another one over here, marker peak. And you can see over here 30 and 360. This is the one. So you can see over here I can use a shared array kind of configuration as well. I can use a sub array kind of a configuration. A lot of different examples are there. Different polarization effect is there, because now we also consider the polarization effect. So if you see in the element pattern, you can define what is the polarization, whether it is linearly polarized or circularly polarized. All those E theta and E5, you can define it as well as you can define it as left hand polarized or right hand polarized. All those things you can define it over here in this particular beam pattern model. But how to see it in the system level, because this is right now just the standalone, correct? I'm just feeding theta and phi and just seeing the 3D pattern at the output. This is not what I'm looking out for. I'm looking out for the complete system level simulation. So before we get into the system level simulation, I would like to highlight what are the different architectures which are being used in the phased array systems. So as I mentioned in the starting itself, you have three different architectures which are being used, which are being considered. But I think most of the times you're going to get into digital beamforming. That's the one which everyone is trying hard, or the hybrid one, which is everyone is trying hard to integrate it with the 5G systems. So you will see a lot of discussions happening with respect to digital beamforming, RF beamforming, and hybrid beamforming when you talk about phased array system, whether it is 5G or RF, whether it is 5G or radar applications. So in the digital beamforming, everything is done at the baseband level, correct? So all your amplitude and phase are actually considered at the baseband level, and then the biggest problem with this particular thing is you need to have a lot of digital to analog converters, analog to digital converters, A to D and D to A converters, which going to create lots and lots of heat. So that is one of the drawbacks of this particular configuration. But the rest of it, it has been actually been done by some of the companies. Some of the companies are already providing digital beamforming tips as well. So the whole concept is you define the magnitude and the phase at the baseband level itself. In the RF front end, everything is done in the RF front end. So you will have the magnitude and the phase, everything done at the RF front end level. So you will have all your amplifiers, attenuators to uh, what you can say to see how much magnitude you want, and then you have your own phase shifters to see what kind of beam steering you're looking out for. So you have your external phase shifters and or your delay lines along with your amplifier models or attenuator models to control the beam. Hybrid is all about, in the baseband level, you will have amplitudes. So all the amplitude values are given at the baseband level. And then the phase shifters are used in the RF level to actually steer the beams. So that's we call it as an hybrid, wherein RF and baseband kind of coexist with each other. So that is more of an hybrid beam forming system. So we support all three of these RF beam hybrid and baseband level beam forming. But different aspect of it is how will you understand that whether the beam is good or not, correct? So as you can see in the far field pattern over here, it says the whole thing. So it says that on the left hand side the beam is much better than the right hand side, because obviously on the right hand side you have all these uh, 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 you have all these higher side lobes coming into picture. But what exactly is causing these higher side lobes, we don't know, correct? uh, Everything works fine when you design an antenna in HFSS, EM Pro, or CST. Everything works very fine. But when you start integrating, you don't know. These side lobes are starting coming up. You don't know what is the thing which is causing it. Another thing is, let's say you don't know is if there is any kind of squinting effect, correct? So I wanted a beam to be on 20 degrees, but I got a beam on 26 degrees. What it, I know this is a phase, this is because of the input phase. There is something going on with the input phase, but at what level? At the amplifier level, at the phase shifter level, where exactly the things are going wrong, you don't know. So if you want to do those kind of analysis to understand in a complete system level where exactly the things are going wrong, for such kind of cases, you can even do that as well. Now, here again, one of the key things, probably, when I do an EM simulation standalone, everything works fine. But when I tend to integrate, a lot of these nonlinearities. So this is a simple amplifier AM to PM effect. What is AM to PM effect? When you increase the amplitude of the input signal of an amplifier, the output signal should remain the output signal phase should remain constant, but it doesn't remain constant. The phase of the output signal actually changes as it goes into the nonlinear region. So that is called AM to PM effect. So that output signal phase, which is changing because of the nonlinearity in the amplifier, will cause the beam to steer, or the lot of nonlinear components which are going to come up will actually disrupt the side lobes. So all those things you can do it various all these different simulations with respect to what is happening in the what is happening in the beam, what is going on wrong with respect to various aspects of the RF front end. You can do all those kind of simulations within system view. So this is some of the cases. The phase shifter is creating a lot of issues because the phase shifters are not broadband. It is going to have squinting effect. You can do that. Feed networks, because the feed networks will provide different impedances at different when it is looking towards the antenna. So how that is going to affect that. A lot of these phase shifters and attenuators have these quantization effect, because sometimes you're going to use 3-bit phase shifters, sometimes you're going to use 5-bit phase shifters. You don't know uh, what kind of quantization or resolution is good for you. So a lot of these quantization effect can be captured in the system view. A lot of these amplitude and phase imbalance, because when it comes down to RF front end, if I consider, let's say, this case, correct? So the TR module over here, or the first antenna, and the TR module on the third antenna, will not give is exactly the same gain and the same phase. So there will be a amplitude imbalance and the phase imbalance at each one of these stages. So how will I cater those things? How will I cater the amplitude imbalance and the phase imbalance? So those kind of things can also be studied in system view. So you can see all these things. Quantization effect is there, phase errors are there, amplitude errors are there, feed network implementation, active impedance implementation for the antennas. So let me just quickly show you these examples. So since I have 5 minutes over here, then I'll get into the 5G application. So let me close this workspace. Uh, okay, for this one, I'll go back to some of my own material. So let's say this is a very basic example. So okay, so in this particular case, I have designed. So this is another set of models. So we have a lot of these different phased array toolbox models, which comes along with system view. So this particular toolbox models are from the RF library. So there are two types of phased array tool models. One is in algorithm design library to cater the baseband part of it, and then there is a RF. There are phased array models in the RF library to cater the RF aspects of the phased array design. So in this particular model, if you see, let me open up the very basic chain. So you have a transmitter model, you have a power splitter, you have an attenuator, you have phase shifters, and then you have antenna models. So everything is defined. Let's go into the antenna models. So I will define the antenna. So it is 8x8 antennas. I will go for the element pattern. So you can see I can define all those pattern files and all those things which I have shown you before. Here, the difference is I can actually do a lot of these active loading, because in the RF front end, I can read the frequency domain values because we are doing the frequency domain simulation. So I can read the S parameter file also. So if I have a coupling matrix, let's say I want to see if I want to incorporate what is antenna to antenna coupling inside the antenna model. If I want to incorporate that values, I can bring those S parameter data set or S parameter files as well. Or I can, if I want to understand that what is active impedances reflection or active reflection coefficients, because at each phase variation, the active impedance will change. So I can do those kind of things as well over here. Now coming to the phase shifters, this is a very simple phase shifter. I'm defining theta and phi. Attenuator also. What is the what is the windowing function? What is the side lobe levels and all those things I can define. Now this is a simple chain for which I have plotted the output antenna pattern, and you can see over here that's perfectly fine. It is coming at 70 and 45 and magnitude low over here. But in the second schematic, I have done the same thing, but I have done a little bit of difference. In the phase shifters, I have defined the number of bits. In the first one, I have not defined the number of bits. So I have restricted the resolution by number of bits in the phase shifters. Same way in the attenuator also, I have restricted the resolution of the stages. So this is a 5-bit attenuator. But then I went one step more ahead. What I created was another schematic. In this one, I am not. In this one, I am not just only got the quantization, but I have actually gone to the Hittite phase shifters and I have called the S parameter files for all the Hittite for that particular phase shifter. So if you can see over here, these are the phase shifters S parameter file, S2P files, which are incorporated. And these models are for different states, because each of these 4-bit Hittite phase shifter will have different states, correct? So for that, I have incorporated. Same way for attenuators, I have incorporated not only just the quantization effect, but the S parameter files also. Now, if I have to show you, you will be actually really shocked to see if I compare the 2D cuts of my far field pattern. The red one is the one which is actually ideal one, which you will see just with, when you run an EM simulation, probably that's what you're going to see with an ideal thing. When you bring in the quantization effect of your phase shifters, you see this purple or blue kind of a thing, correct? Wherein side lobes have gone higher and your nulls have gone higher so much. But when you incorporate the S parameter file, you can just see how bad it has gone. So you can see with the S parameter file incorporated, everything has gone for a toss. So I have to retune the whole thing to understand what is going on wrong. So you can see with an ideal phase shifter to a S parameter phase shifter, how much variation it has. So it is very important to consider each and every aspect of your design when you're doing this phase array simulation. Another very important part of your phase array is you want to understand the failure analysis. So this is my last example before I get into 5G. Hopefully I have time to talk about 5G library as well. But in case we miss out, I'm really sorry. Uh, uh, let's see how it goes. So, so this in this particular case, I have this system, the same thing, 8x8 antenna, nothing very fancy. But in this 8x8, so these are like 64 elements. So the basic concept of phase array is, the phase array will still work if, let's say, 2 or 3 elements fail, because that's the beauty of phase array system. Even if, let's say, my 2 or 3 RF front end elements fail or my antenna fails, the system is still uh, in the workable condition. Correct? I don't have to change the whole things. So I want to understand that how much percentage of failure is acceptable to me. So let's say 10% antenna failure. So out of, let's say, 64, six antenna failures are acceptable to me. But I want to understand that how my far field is going to behave if 6 elements fail randomly somewhere. So what I have done is we have used this statistical analysis to fail these 6 elements or 10% of the elements randomly. And I'm using this Monte Carlo analysis, and you can see I'm using 10% failure. So zero means failure, 1 means the element is working fine. So 90% of working people are working. And here I'm going to run 50 iterations. So within the 50 iterations, it will randomly fail, randomly fail 6 or 7 10% elements and try to show me what is the pattern. So let's see over here. So this is what it is going to show me. So let me run this once again. So you can see it over here. It is randomly failing, and it is trying to show me what is the 2D cut of the system. So if you see it over here, the main lobes is not an issue, but the side lobes is one of the things which is actually varying a lot. So if you are okay with the side lobe variation, you can go ahead with the system. Or if you're not okay, comfortable with the side lobes variation so much, you need to make sure that you don't fail. So how much is acceptable to you for your system, with how much failure rate is acceptable to you. If you want to do those kind of studies, those things can also be done with this, Monte Carlo kind of failure analysis as well. So you can see over here almost like 8 dB of variation. If you're okay with this 8 dB variation minus 4, sorry, not 8 dB, 12 dB variation minus 4 to it's 6 plus 4, yeah, 10 dB variation. So it is almost 10 to 11 dB variation is there. If you are comfortable with this variation, it's okay. But if you're not comfortable, you can actually go ahead and do less amount of failure and understand that which kind of failure is acceptable to you or not. Or if you have to do something else for the system in case it fails, some elements fail. So those analysis are also possible, using this phased array implementation. A lot of different things I'm not going to discuss. You can actually plot the harmonics far field pattern and the IMD far field pattern. So it will not just plot the fundamental frequency far field pattern, but it will also plot harmonics and the mixing order far field pattern, because that is also one of the things which are coming in FCC standard. You are not just have to show them how much is the fundamental power radiated out, but you have to show them how much is the intermodes and the harmonics are radiating out. So what is the EIRP of the, let's say, second order, third harmonics or something like that. So you can even do the far field pattern of your second harmonics or the third harmonics or the intermode products. Individual path for all the paths, you can do the path analysis like how we used to do in the single one. You can do it in the phased array implementation as well. So that's polarization I've already talked about. You can use the circularly polarized in all different polarization effects as well. So we have another, I think, 10 minutes. I don't know, ma'am, if I'll just ask ma'am if I can extend for another 5 minutes. Will that be fine if I go up to 4:05, or is it a hard stop at 4? Okay, so let's take it. Let's say it is a hard stop at 4. Okay, I'll try to explain as many things in the next 10 minutes. Probably 5 minutes we'll keep it for the question answers, and then we'll conclude this session. But you always have my uh, mail ID, which I have shared it over the chat window. You can ping me. You can drop in a mailbox, drop in a mail to understand if you want some more information on these ones. Okay, so going forward, as I mentioned, you have a lot of these 5G libraries which are already inbuilt. So I will like to highlight key features very quickly. So we support all these 15. So right now we support 15.4. 15.6 is already coming in the next December release. So in the December there is a system view release going to happen, which is going to support 16 3GPP 16 release. But right now we are supporting 15.4, and it supports all these physical models wherein you have physical layer models wherein you have channels and modulations, channel coding and multiplexing. And then this is one of the channel models which is valid from 0.5 0.5 to 100 gigahertz. This is against defined in 3GPP 38.901. So this channel models can also be used. So one slide I'll just highlight before I get into a lot of demos. So this is very important slide. So as you might have seen, we support complete 3GPP library. You can actually build in the you can plot in you can go inside the models, you can define the parameters, and you can design your complete system level simulation, and you can bring your RF front end. So you can create your complete system as per the standard and do a complete system level simulation. So these are all blocks. So I will show you how these blocks works. So you have a complete block wherein you can integrate the whole transmitter and the receiver end along with the antennas all together, an RF front end model. So you will also have a RF front end phase array architecture tool wherein you can design the complete RF front end, which I've just shown you in the last section. So in this, you can integrate that along with the 5G library, which you are seeing it in the middle, and create a complete system level simulation to perform the let's say to perform throughput analysis or BER analysis or any kind of system level analysis as well. Another thing I would like to highlight is the channel models, so which I've already mentioned. So 38.901, which is one of the very important channel models defined in the 3GPP standard, which is valid from 500 megahertz to 100 gigahertz, is already implemented inside system view. Then over the air test model. So generally, once your system is ready, you get into you go for over the air testing, wherein you take your device into anechoic chamber, you define your receiver antennas, and you try to understand what is the receive power, and you do a lot of measurements at the receiver end. So you do a lot of measurements of EVM, BER, those kind of things at those test points. So I can do in the simulation environment itself, I can recreate that kind of a scenario wherein I will define the receiver test points, like OTA test points, wherein I can define where my receivers are located and which direction. And then I can do a lot of BER, those kind of analysis, or EVM kind of analysis at those test points. So those over the air testing models are also available in 5G library. So these are some of the quick things we support in 5G. So we have a lot of these uplink and downlink sources which are already available for your, uh, uh, for your system level simulation. So let's quickly go ahead and see the system view, correct? Rather than wasting time over here. So let me open up an example. I'll open up an example, I think, for an uplink. Yeah, that should be fine. I'll go for the baseband verification. I'll go to the 5G, 3GPP NR. So you can see over here, a lot of these things are there. So, and downlink throughput. So from base station to UE, correct? So I'm going to do the throughput. So I'm just going to show you the throughput over here. So this is a lot of these 2x2 MIMO, a lot of these CISO, a lot of things are already available inside. Uh, so so this one is a throughput simulation. So let me close this thing and let me show you what is happening over here. So this is the source which we got it from 5G library. So you can see this 5G library is there. I can go to 3GPP NR. I can go for downlink. And you can see this is a downlink source. So this is the same source I'm using over here, this one. And it is just that I have hidden these parameters. So that's why you're not seeing so many parameters. You can just hide them. Double click over here and you can feed in what parameters you want. So you can see what frequency level, what is the bandwidth, what is the neurology, what is the BWP points, how many BWPs you can add. You can add multiple BWP points, correct? You can define all the channel models within the signal within your downlink source. So you have your PVCH, PDCCH, correct? All these things, CSI, you can define all those things over here as well. So I can just go down. You can see RS, DMRS is there, power boosting, DMRS ports. So DMRS ports also are defined over here. So everything is there. And in case you don't understand what exactly these parameters do, how to define them, best way is all the models have their help file. Okay. So if I open up the help file over here, okay, and then you can see over here uh, all these parameters are well defined, well explained what exactly it is doing in the help file, and from which reference we are taking it also. It has already been defined over here. So it has a very explanatory self-defined what all things we do, what all things we don't do. Just to be very cautious, some of the things we don't support. I think one or two things we don't support right now. So it is better always to check what all things we support. Okay, because there might be one or two things which I still remember we don't support in downlink and all those things. So I would suggest first I would you can clarify with us if you have any queries that whether these things are supported or not. And then probably you can start using those models and we can help you out to configure those models as per your requirement. Again, so this is down. This is one of the examples. Let me show it to you. So I have a bit source. I have a downlink source. I'm up converting it into a RF signal. This is a 1 gigahertz signal. I'm adding a noise density. Then I'm giving it to my receiver. This is my downlink receiver. I've defined the receiver properties. And then I'm doing a BER calculation using this MATLAB script. And then, or I can use it a throughput. This is a model within system view library. So this throughput is actually calculating, taking the transmitter and receive signal and calculating the throughput. So if you can see over here, this is the BER curve and this is the throughput values. Let me see. So this is the throughput. Okay, so I have to run this simulation where I'm not going to run it, but here's the throughput value. So this is a typical application where, you know, you have a transmitter receiver, you have your RF front end, your noise density coming into picture. You want to do the BER or the throughput analysis, you can do it over here. But let's say if I want to integrate everything with the phased array and everything. So I have an example with the phased array application. I think that will give you a better idea. So this is my last example. Probably after this, I will conclude this session. I'll take your Q&As. So another 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes to show you this example. Okay, so this is the example which is already there and now downlink multiple beams. So what exactly I'm trying to show here? This is amazing. This is a very good example actually. Uh, so it is something like a multi-user MIMO case. So let me explain to you what exactly I'm trying to do. There are two beams. There are two UEs. So I'm using UEs or receiver as this VSA. So this is the VSA software, vector signal analyzer software, which has a capability to demodulate the signal using so it has an inbuilt capability. So I'm using these softwares as a demodulator. I can use my own receivers also. I can use my own receivers, but here we just don't want it to complicate the whole workspace. So we have used an ideal, VSA sync to act as a demodulator because it will act as a receiver. And then I have two UEs at two different locations. So these are, let's say, one UE is at one particular location, theta and phi, another UE is at one particular theta and phi location. And there is one base station which is trying to kind of send in two beams to cater these two UEs. So I have this particular, downlink signal. You can see it over here from the base station, and one signal is at this particular frequency, 28 gigahertz, and it passing it to the attenuators and a lot of these phase shifters and amplifiers the for the beam forming. And these phase shifters and amplifiers are getting the weights, the phase values, and the uh, amplitude values from the beamformer. So you can see it over here, the beamformer. This is giving out the phase and the taper values, the amplitude values. So there are two beams. One is this one, and another one is this one. They are going into the same antenna model. So I'm just adding them up with a particular phase and amplitude. So with the typical phase and amplitude, I'm adding them up and passing it through an antenna model, the TX model. This is a shared array wherein I'm actually defining isotopic right now, but it is an 8 cross 8 antenna element. And then I'm giving it to my VSAs to download. So what I'm trying to figure it out, let's say if my two UEs were at this particular location, one is at 25 degree theta and 250 degrees phi, another one is at 30 degree theta and 30 degree phi, what will happen, whether they will receive the signal properly. When they demodulate, everything will work fine, but right now it will work fine because they are very far apart. But as they come closer to each other, the main lobes or the side lobes will try to interfere between one another, correct? The main lobe of one will come down very close to the main lobe of the other one, or the side lobes will try to interfere with the main lobes of the other one. So how will it affect the received signal at the UEs? So if you want to bring those two beams closer to each other and demodulate them and see, okay, let me stop this thing first. I made a mistake. Uh, okay, it will not stop until I close. Yes, thank you. I made a mistake. That's why I wanted to stop. So I wanted to show you the 3D far field pattern of the antennas which are going to generate these two beams, correct? So that's why I wanted to switch on these models before I run. So when I run this simulation, so ideally I should get two beams, correct, at 25 to 50 and 30 and 30. So let's see. So once I run the simulation, so it is trying to open up the VSA software, which is acting as a receiver. You can see it over here. These were acting as a receiver or as a UE for me in this case. But let me see, where is my 3D plots? 3D plots not yet open. Okay, it will open up. So, is it possible to work on 10 cross 10 or 16 cross 16? Yes, it is possible. I have seen up to 8 cross 8 in the recent library. So, you have to create it. There is no library right now as it is. 8 cross 8 MIMO system view. You have to create 8 cross 8 system then. But not ready-made libraries are available. NR polar encoder. So I'm just reading out some of the examples. Huh? That's why if you're wondering what I'm doing. But why the 3D plot? Yeah, so the 3D plot is here. So you can see over here there are two beams. One is at 30-30 and another is at 250 and 25. Correct? That's what I have defined the two UVs. Correct? Over here. So if I bring them closer, what will happen? So this is a software which I was talking about. This software can actually demodulate the signal. I can show the signal in the spectrum domain, and I can see the EVM over here. I can see the EVM for each and every frame also. So it will act as a receiver for me. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see that if I actually change so there are two VSAs over here for two UEs, so two receivers. If I want to understand that if I bring those beams closer to each other, whether my EVM degrades or there is anything, or my EVM goes for a toss, or how much it degrades, whether it is acceptable to me or not, or how much it is acceptable to me, so that I can take a proper precaution when the two UEs are coming close to each other, right? So those kind of things I can do it. So it is still taking time. So you can see it is filling time to record. So it will take time to run the simulation. So that's it for my side. Any questions? I'll just open up. Sorry, I took 7 minutes more. Probably another 5 minutes. If you have any questions, I'm open for any questions. You can type it down in your chat window.
I have one doubt here. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. I'm able to hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes. Okay. Is it like modem analysis? Like, can we simulate like transmitter and receiver together?
Yes, you can do it, but as I mentioned, it is just the physical layer, not all the top level layers, protocol layers, and not all those things. So
Okay.
it is just the physical layer of the complete system. It can be anything.
So something like it will give the input to the MAC layer, no? Something like that.
So input to the physical layer. So you can see I'm working on the bits level digital data, and I can go up to the digital data at the receiver end, but not on the top level layer wherein you define the MAC layers and all.
So MAC output is given to this layer. So and this layer is given to finally
So you want to define all these things over here itself.
So that the signals are there, no? Demodulation signals, CSIRS.
Yes. Yeah, so CSIRS.
Is it separately you have to simulate, or how internal blocks, signals, downlink signals, uplink signals?
Yeah, so in the downlink signals, CSIRS, I think in the transmitter end, it's supported. But on the receiver end, I don't think so right now it is supported. We need to wait for the next release, because that is one thing which is missing. I know that. If I go to the downlink receiver.
Is it like a LabVIEW, which is National Instruments? So it's looking like same like that system view?
No, I think I'm not seeing the LabVIEW software, but that is more often controlling the instruments.
Right. Yeah.
This is more of a system level simulation. This is you bring in all your RF models and all those parameters and do a complete.
Yeah, it's like similar looking, like same like that.
Probably the GUI might look same. Yeah, I don't know.
And this is from this Keysight, is it right? This Keysight instruments. So system view is there. So they end-to-end deliver like a layer one implementation will be done in this tool.
Sorry, I didn't get your last question. What was that?
So layer one implementation we can do in this software.
Yes, yes.
So algorithm based on algorithms will come, no?
Yes, yes, yes. So you can bring your own MATLAB code, HDL code, C++ code. If you have written your own codes also, you can bring it in system.
Can you provide the free software or some like trial version someone?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have to just, I've dropped in my mailbox. I've dropped in my mail ID. You have to just write it to me with all the details of your institution
Okay.
and everything.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
uh, MATLAB what are the advantages? I'm not going, Himani, I'm not going to compare the advantages.
What actually
Yes,
algorithms means what I generally can in L1 algorithms they will get. So what are the algorithms, general baseband algorithms?
so a lot of baseband algorithms are there. I think there should be a lot of background noise from this. Like,
My
after
knowledge like only filters only I know, FFT filters.
yeah, so,
What
so
to
this is from the baseband library. So I'm not opened it up because I don't want to kind of uh, give you too much of information in the first day. It's overwhelming. But you can go inside this block. You can see over here. You can go
do?
inside this block. This block, top level block has a lot of blocks inside. Correct? You can see all the PVC scrambler, everything, channel encoder. You can go over here. This is payload, scrambler, encoder, correct? NR polar encoder, all those things.
Polar coding will come. Polar
Yeah,
coding.
everything. All the models are there inside this library. Okay, with respect to 5G.
Okay.
So there is another question for
Okay.
yeah. There is another question. Can you mute your
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Pratik Rana. I can see some of other queries are there in the chat box. Like, what are the advantages in comparison to MATLAB and Simulink?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to answer. That is a very long question you asked. Because I can tell you a lot of advantages and MATLAB can tell you a lot of advantages. I would suggest the way one of the most unique things is the way how we support the RF front end and antenna integration, the RF front end integration. Because I know in baseband level, MATLAB has no comparison. Even if I say MATLAB, I have a lot of models as compared to MATLAB. That would be kind of wrong to say because they are very much comparable in the baseband level. But in the RF level, I can certainly say that when you're trying to integrate the RF front end, you're trying to integrate the antenna models, how we do it with HFSS, EM Pro, CST models, how we bring in the S parameter models, the nonlinear models. That is something no one does it right now.
Okay, thank you. There are some other queries are there. That is, system view can be used in real-time applications. It can be integrated with signal analyzer, network analyzer, or
Yes.
other languages can be included inside system view.
Yes. As I mentioned, MATLAB, C++, HDL, you can integrate any of these three languages. You can integrate any of these three models written in these three languages, and you can integrate them with instruments, signal generators, signal analyzers, as I've shown in the PPTs. You can do all those integration and do a lot of testing. You can create your own test benches for testing purposes using system view and these hardware.
Yeah, thank you. And again, some question is it possible to work with 10 cross 10 or 16 cross 16 antennas with system
Yes,
view?
yes, yes. I have done it for easy. It's going to take a little more time, but that is possible. I have done it for one of the radar applications.
Okay.
That is
Someone is asking that is system view is open source?
no, not an open.
Yeah.
It is a C++ based code, which is from Keysight.
Again, the NR polar encoder is available in system view library.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And the person wants to decode with the corresponding successive cancellation decoder at the receiver. Is it possible?
I think it's possible, but you can just write down exactly what you're looking for. And then probably once I write out, but I haven't tried it out. So if you once I write out, I can give you a correct answer. Should be possible.
Thank you, Mr. Khurana. Thank you for your valuable answers. So I hope all the queries of our participants are cleared now. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pratik, for giving a detailed demonstration of System Views 5G library. I hope our participants who are particularly faculties and researchers, PhD scholars, so they will be highly benefited if they use the System View software by Keysight Technologies. Thank you, Mr. Pratik, for giving us time, your valuable time for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, should I share these
Yes.
slides with you? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any questions, please?
No, ma'am. I will just share these slides with you, and then.
Yes. Please send the slides.
Yeah, and in case anyone wants it, you can share it with them.